And welcome back. Today we're talking about how to light your videos or photos for that matter. And the product that I'm talking to you about is the new Pixel P80 RGB professional light. That's how they call it. Now, full disclosure, Pixel sent me two of these panels, and we'll talk about why two in a second. But Pixel sent me these two panels to test out, and so I want you to know that I was sent these from the manufacturer, although my opinion, what I'm gonna say in this video, are completely mine. Now it's up to you whether to trust me on what I'm saying or considering that I am being somehow biased. It's up to you. I cannot convince you any better. But believe me, what I'm saying, it's all about my experience with these and how I found them, using them during my month or so of testing. Now, before we move into the real review of this light panel, let me thank Chiara, who posed for me for that portrait shooting that you saw, because she was kind enough to again pose for me. So check her Instagram account right now and subscribe to her, because she definitely deserved it. Now, without any further ado, let's talk about these RGB panels. Let's begin with some specs, and then we're going to talk about the build quality, in general, the quality of this panel. The panel is a 60-watt RGB continuous output, and it is very powerful and flexible. It is dimmable from 0 to 100% with steps of 1%, so you can be very precise as how much light you want out of it. It covers the full RGB spectrum, and it's got a CRI that is better than 97%. That means it's a very quality light, and it's got that 360-degree U adjustment, and the color temperature may change between 2500 Kelvin and 10,000 Kelvin. It's got 48 wireless channels, and it can manage 6 groups, which is important when you have many of those, but we get there in a second. It's got app control, and it's got an LCD panel and physical control from which you can modify the values. And it weighs approximately 1.6 kilos, so it's not that heavy. It's actually easy to place even on normal stands. You don't need to have heavy-duty stands. That's a plus. It works on it needs to be plugged in your power, or you can buy an optional battery that allows you to work even without being forced to have a plug to connect to. The panel itself is very well built. These flaps are super good. You can also remove this part with all the flaps. It feels solid. You can definitely see when you use it. You can definitely see that it's nice. It's got this back of this panel is very well done. All of this is metal. It's good for heat dissipation. It never gets really warm at the touch, so it's a good thing. The power has this locking mechanism, which is very easy, so you know they're not gonna lose it. And the only thing that I don't like from a construction standpoint is that you have this little bit of gap where some light can leak. Minor issue, but it's worth being mentioned. There's workarounds. It's not dramatic, but it's something that is worth being mentioned. There are plenty of usage modes, and we get to that in the next section of the video. And again, you can use them in groups. Overall, it's very well built. It's something that inspires you quality. Now, from now on, I'm gonna move this away because it kind of gets in the way. As I said, there's various working modes, and these are what make this light fun to use and very a pleasure to use. The first one is CCT, which is basic color temperature control, in which you can decide what is your white, your point of white, and what is your green or magenta cast that you want to add to it, and it's very easy to understand. The next mode is HSI, which is hue, saturation, and intensity, in which the hue is expressed in degrees, 0 to 360 degree, and which basically describe the color in the form of an angle, while the saturation is the describes you how much the color is diluted with white light. In this case, you can basically change the color of the outcome by moving those parameters. And of course, the intensity tells you how much power comes out of the light panel. You then have RGB W mode, which is basically your RGB mode, where you get a single channel for single primary colors, and you can move them around pretty easily without and then you can again with the intensity determine the amount of power that you want coming out of the panel. And last but not least, you have the effects mode. Now, the effects mode allows you to choose between some preset animations of the light, which can be used depending on what you need. You have two different lightning strikes kind of mode. Then you have the cinema mode, police, ambulance, fire truck, fast and slow RGB. You're gonna see all of those in a later section of the video because we're gonna get in depth into all of these. Although these modes may seem gimmicky, they're more useful than you may think, especially if you want to simulate, on a low budget, you want to simulate something like a police car coming in from the window. You can easily do that. Now I'm showing you in this video a couple of potential combination working with the two lights. Of course, you can kill me in the comments because of my look in that video. I then shaved and then my haircut. So go on and roast me in the comments. And as I mentioned before, you can command these panels with a dedicated app, which is great. It works really well. We can move between modes very easily. You can turn lights on and off. It's very well done, and it's very reliable, which is something that it's not always true with these kind of things. You can also pick one color from the camera of your smartphone and have that pushed out from the light. I'll show you that later. I mentioned already that I have two of these, and you can definitely have a great use of these because you can have them working together. If you place them in the same group, the light work at the same. With one light you command both, and with the app you command the group. It's super easy. They will both do the same thing at the same time. That's great. Or you may change that and have them in different groups. In that case, you manage one independently from the other and have very different potential combination, as I showed you before. It is really nice to have all of this flexibility, and the outcome that you have when you see at the results that I have in both video and photos is really good, and it's something that became already part of my working setup on a daily basis. The next section is going to be more in depth, so if you want to skip that and want to go to the conclusion, you're free to do it. Just don't forget to subscribe, like, and check the link in the description where you can have when you can see where these are sold, and you can also check my affiliated link, which is going to help me keep this channel going. Now let's go in depth in the mode, the usage of the app, and the physical controls. Now let's see how to use the panel. You turn it on and off with the on and off button, which is obvious, and then you move around in the parameters with the arrows. Left and right allows you to change the intensity of the parameter that you select, and up and down allows you to change the parameter you're actually moving. Now we're in CCT mode, so we're changing the white balance of the scene. So the CCT value is just the white point, and the M/G is the green magenta cast that you can change to give it a spin to what you're doing. Now, of course, the extremes are way too much, but in the middles it's fine. And again, as you can see, it's super simple and super responsive. You then move to the other setting with the center button. There's another way of doing it, but we'll see. In HSI mode, we're now changing the saturation, and with the H, you're changing the hue value, which is a 360-degree value. And of course, you go up and you change the intensity of the light itself. So very, very straightforward, very simple. There's nothing really hard to learn. In RGB mode, you change the single channel intensity. In this case, I put to 0 the green and now the blue, so I only have the red. And then, of course, you can keep moving the intensity of the overall light with the I value. You can then move to the effects. You have lightning number 1, which is a kind of lightning, and then a slightly different one with lightning number 2. Then you go to the cinema mode, which is, it shows that like a screen changes its intensity unpredictably. And then you have a couple of settings like a police or ambulance or even fire truck that can be used, let's say, to simulate something coming from the window. Then you have fast RGB or slow RGB, which basically rotates the RGB spectrum in a fast or slow way. And then you have an SOS mode to simulate something requesting for help, or candlelight mode, which in this case is too bright, so it doesn't show the effect that you would have with a candlelight, but you can see it's changing its intensity unpredictably like a candle. You then go back to your standard parameters, and then you have a plus 25 button that allows you to change the intensity in a quicker way. It goes in step of 25, and then you have another M button that allows you to move between the modes pretty quickly. So you have different ways of doing the same thing, but it's not confusing. It's super simple, super straightforward. Moving to the app, you can see I have two groups here, which allows me to operate them separately, and I can now turn the light on and off remotely, which is super simple. Then you start in CCT mode, and you can change from preset parameters to then change manually the hue in this case, or the cast in this case. Then I can change the white point if I'm moving on the top. Then you can change the intensity on the bottom. Super simple. With the RGB mode, you have a color field selection, which again lets you select which one you want, and then it pushes it on the panel, or you have sliders. Again, there's a little delay. The delay that you see is the fact that the changes happens the moment you remove the finger from the phone, not as you move. So just keep that in mind. The intensity, again, you can change it with the slider at the bottom. HSI mode, same thing. You move with your finger the parameters that you want, and it reflects it on the panel. Super simple, super easy, super straightforward. You have a gel section, then I didn't try, and then you have a camera which picks the color that you want and then projects it on the panel. Super, super easy and super useful. And then you have your effects. Lighting number 1, cinema, police, ambulance, fire engine, candlelight, RGB fast, RGB slow, SOS, and candlelight. Super simple, super straightforward. You change the intensity. It's very, 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 very easy to do. And the app works flawlessly. So, would I recommend these lights? I would definitely do it, because these lights are good, very good quality, and they're reliable. In the month that I've used them, I've never had an issue either with the app or the manual controls or anything failing. It's never happened. I'm really now, I consider these very dependable. And there's no, like when it comes to continuous light, especially for video, you don't want to have the light power going up and down, flickering and all of that. And there's nothing like that. It's very constant, very reliable, very dependable. And it's something that is invaluable for someone that is using stuff like that, a system like that for work. So you can definitely use it in a professional environment without having any issue. Of course, these are not Hollywood set kind of lighting. This is one-man band, small crew type of low budget production level, but these are perfect for that purpose. The possibility of use many of these at the same time, have them set in groups, different groups, manage them separately, and all of that makes you like this system even more, especially because everything happens seamlessly. So it's definitely easy to use, and it invites you to use it even more because, again, you can rely on it. The result of the shooting done with these panels, I really liked it, although sometimes I went a little bit too far with the color, but I was playing with it. I was trying to see what I could do. But in general, the result, especially when you set it the right way, was really, really, really enjoying. And these are also, like in this case, my main light has got a huge diffuser and all of that over here, but you can use them as accent colors in a more complex lighting scenario where you need something colored in the back or some accent here and there. They work perfectly. And for the price, like each of these panels is around $200, but you can often find them at a discount, even on the Pixel site. To me, it's a good price for what the product is. I have cheaper panels that I've used in the past, but the comparison is not even like, it's two different categories. There's no comparison at all. And now that I have these, I will use this continuously because they work really, really, really great. In my opinion, again, for the quality, this system, especially with the potential of having more of these and use them pretty freely, is a very attractive one. I must be honest, I didn't know Pixel before they contacted me to test these lenses out. And I must say that I'm now very interested in all of their other products, because if the quality is like this, we're dealing with a company that really values quality at a high level. It's not a cheaply made, it's working fine. Something like an app that works fine, that doesn't disconnect, it disconnected in a month, it disconnected only once, and I don't even know if it was the phone issue or the app, I don't know, but other than that, I didn't have any issue. Everything is done really good. And that's, again, I keep repeating myself, but that's the truth. I really like the quality that is coming out of these things. I think for today, that's it. I've talked even too much. Don't forget to subscribe, leave me a like, check these lights out in the link in the description below, and let me know in the comments if you want to know more about this lens, if I forgot something, if you want me to test something else. Just let me know. That's it for today. Bye, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.